Hi everyone, my name is Heather Sherman. I'm a senior marketing student at the University of North Georgia. I currently work at a library on a military base. Today, I would like to talk about the importance of an online presence. The problem with where I work is that we have an ineffective, very limited online presence. We do not have our own company branded email, we do not have a social media presence, and we do not have a website where a patron can browse the in-house selection, which normally results in their frustration. And this frustration can cause the patron to leave the military base and go to a different library in the area that has a website that they can search for the items that they need on. An ineffective or unlimited online presence can indicate a lot of things to people. It can indicate a lack of credibility and a lack of discoverability, which can be very harmful for a small business. When doing research for this problem, I found that 84% of consumers surveyed believe that a company with its own website is more credible than one without. I also found that 65% of consumers surveyed believe that a business using a company-branded email is also more credible than one using a generic Gmail or Yahoo Mail account. 9 out of 10 customers surveyed use and rely on the internet to discover, locate, and decide whether or not to try a small business. So having little to no online presence can indicate a lot of things, such as a lack of credibility and a lack of discoverability, which can be harmful, and in the case of a library specifically, the lack of a website that includes the extent of the library's inventory, constantly updating to give patrons real-time results, can be the reason that they choose to go to a different library. The first alternative that I would like to present for this problem is to create a company-branded email. Having a company-branded email gives a customer a sense of security when they're communicating, and they feel like they're communicating with a legitimate business rather than with a generic email account that anyone can make. The library is currently using a generic Gmail account, which can look suspicious to patrons. This alternative can be done for free if we already had a website domain name, or for as little as $10 per month through a platform such as G Suite by Google. G Suite by Google allows you to create an email that is whatever you want at yourcompaniesname.com rather than at gmail.com. While this alternative is necessary and should be implemented either way, it's definitely not going to be enough to fully increase the library's online presence to the degree that people choose it over other libraries, which is the downside to this alternative. So the cost for this alternative is $0 with a website or a domain name, or $10 at the most per user per month, which is a relatively low-cost alternative. The second alternative that I would like to present is to create and maintain a social media presence. And a well-run social media presence can do a lot of things, especially for a small business. It can generate awareness, it can increase engagement, it can help us advertise our events, and it can be yet another place for patrons to find the information that they need, such as our phone number, where we're located, things like that. Having a good social media presence can also help people feel connected to the library and could potentially help them choose it over other libraries. Running a social media page can be done by almost any employee who knows how to use social media. The organization that we work under also has a marketing department, which is a great free tool for us to utilize to be sure that we are carrying out effective techniques through our social media platforms. The disadvantage to this alternative is that done alone, a social media presence is probably not going to fully sway the opinions of current or potential patrons when they're choosing which library better suits their needs. So additional measures would probably have to be taken in order for us to fully sway opinions. The cost for this alternative is negligible because most social media accounts are free to use unless you decide to pay for advertising. The third alternative that I would like to present is to create and maintain a website. Most libraries, and especially libraries in this area, have their own website that provides patrons with the information that they need, including directions to the branch, free tools they can access, upcoming events, and most importantly, an online catalog that lets them know if the library carries an item and if the item is in stock or not. If an individual is working at the library or within our organization who feels comfortable using a website builder or a website template, then this alternative can be a very low-cost alternative. For example, a business plan on Squarespace starts as little as $12 per month, which is a great low-cost alternative if someone's comfortable using and maintaining a website through a website builder. The disadvantage to this alternative is that if there isn't an employee within the library or the organization who feels comfortable using a website builder, then it might be necessary to hire a website designer. A website designer can cost anywhere from $2,000 to $10,000 to set up and to maintain a website. The cost for this alternative is approximately $12 a month, depending on available skills, or anywhere up to $10,000, depending on whether or not a website designer needs to be hired. To have a successful business, a well-designed, effective website is practically required. The goal for any business, and especially a small business, is to have the most engagement and customers as possible. Having a website for a library is the best option. It allows patrons to have access to all the information they need, and it gives them the freedom to access this information from their home or their phone or wherever they need to, which saves them time and frustration. Although this option can potentially get expensive depending on the available resources, it's definitely going to pay off in the long run, especially because it's going to best retain current customers and it's going to help us gain new ones as well, especially when people see that they can come to our website and they can figure out whether or not we carry an item without having to come down to us in person or having to make a phone call. Therefore, in regards to this problem, I recommend that we create a fully functioning, well-designed website that continuously updates and gives patrons access to the information that they need, specifically regarding our inventory, and I believe that this is the best way to retain and gain customers. If you have any questions at all, feel free to contact me and I will be glad to answer them. Thank you so much for your time.